Hello everyone, it's me Duron from Purple Haze team, and today we're going to be discussing everything that transpired this past January on the OCG metagame. We're going to be discussing all the top deck and lists, how the metagame transpired the entire month, and how the ban list and alliance insight at the same time affected all the OCG. So let's begin. Alright, so we're going to start first as per usual since we're talking about the entire month. We're going to be discussing 4 meta reports because that's what we got for the entirety of the month of January from the OCG, thanks to Road of the King. That's this amazing website that provides us all the insights from the OCG in general. So first of all, this metagame breakdown happened specifically after the ban list on the OCG that happened on December, where the most relevant hits, if I could say so myself, was Abyss Driller getting banned, Ryzeal getting limited, and as well for Allure Darkness and Gold Sarcophagus for the Maliss deck. Then everything else, it shifted into this metagame, which on the first one, since we're gonna go into the first 9 days, where Orcus was considered the best deck at this point, with 35 topping lists, Maliss with 33 topping lists, Blue Eyes with Primate Blue Eyes to be more specific with 29 topping list, and Ryzeal being the loser of the ban list here due to losing Ryzeal. 2 copies of Ryzeal really hurts the deck. Oh, especially as well that they already have Bonfire at 1 and a semi-limited 7th Tachyon on that list as well. So the consistency hits for Ryzeal was very rough, but overall still permits Ryzeal to compete at this point on the metagame on the first 9 days of the OCG. If we go all the way lower, this is where Orcus finally gets the spotlight, being the best deck of the format as of the moment for the OCG. Pretty much the main difference from the OCG from us for Orcus is that they still have Appaloosa Ball of the Goddess still legal in the game, and of course Maxi, but overall, by just checking on this list, it's just a pretty much standard Orcus list since back in the day, but now with the new staples that are integrated onto Yu-Gi-Oh currently. But overall, I'm not gonna take the fact that the link 1 for Orcus, it's absolutely broken. You can summon it with the the token that Gearsu brings with its effect, which is pretty amazing. The fact you can just combo off with that, it gives you access to Galatea for free. Even if you get ashed on the effect of a Gearsu to Polish Burial and summon, you can still generate the token, do the link 1, and then go to Galatea and keep going. So that's really good. Like overall, that's exactly what Orcus needed. It's a not generic, but an archetype link 1 that really pushes the deck forward over hand traps, because sometimes you could probably throw like 4 hand traps to Orcus and they're gonna keep going because this deck really doesn't care about any hand traps whatsoever, unless it's draw. Draw is one of those hand traps that really hurt Orcus, specifically if their hand really needs to search, and if they really depend on drawing cards with their Orcus cards as well. So besides of that, like Orcus at this point considered the best deck as of the moment. Of course, it's not that high up there because unfortunately they have to deal with the fact that Maliss is a deck as well at this point, where it's playing Bestials and Shifter to counter Orcus. If there was not a Shifter deck as of the moment, I'm pretty sure that both Blue Eyes and Orcus could have been way more power level, would have been higher. But overall, I think Maliss is a necessary evil, because the fact that it can play Bestials and Shifter to counter those graveyard heavy strategies is pretty good. As you can see as well here, they implemented the most recent forbidden limited list for the OCG were Gold Sarcophagus and Allure of Darkness went to 1. And I was actually very surprised that because the OCG was going into Gold Sarcophagus going back to 3, they semi-limited it before this ban list, and then they just went it back to 1 because they acknowledged that it could not be at 3 or at 2 because of the Maliss that can just banish a draw Maliss or banish another Maliss monster to keep playing. So yeah, and Of course, Blue Eyes. Blue Eyes, after getting the structure deck and having access as well to, I think this is where after Supreme Darkness arrived in the OCG. Yeah, the new Primat monster, the Other Barrel. Yeah, this card is bonkers. It makes the deck way better now, especially since the Ether Barrel now is a level 4 dragon monster that can be used to summon for the Spirit of Blue Eyes White Dragon, which is the Link one. So that's broken, because now the having access to the Primate engine gives you access to your Blue Eyes monsters as well. It also gives you access to extra normal summon by adding the Mausoleum of White, so you can either normal summon your Sage or even your Maiden to keep extending. Because the cool thing about your Maiden, if you draw multiples or you're able to revive it back, is that with the Mausoleum of White, you can target your own Maiden of White, and then you can activate its effect if you have a possible target to special summon out of the graveyard. So that's pretty amazing. So yeah, overall, nothing over the ordinary on this first one. Like, this is where the OCG adapted post ban list. So let's see how much it developed after this first meta breakdown. All right, now continuing on with the metagame breakdown for the OCG, we're gonna go right ahead to the second one, where now that things change a ton. We passed from Orcus being the best deck to now Blue Eyes being the best deck and Orcus being now the third best deck. Like, if you could, I could say so. They need a switcheroo, because Maliss still maintained its popularity being the second best deck with 35 Primate Blue Eyes, 30 Maliss, 22 Orcus. A little bit of an improvement for Ryzeal, and I would like to discuss this other decks, but I'm pretty sure that most people are interested are the best 4 decks. Even if I went to Gem Knight, unfortunately, Gem Knight is not a thing for us at the TCG due to the fact that we still have Brilliant Fusion and we have Block Dragon banned, while they do have it in the OCG for some reason. So they have the ability to play Gem Knight overall, and that's a very scary deck, by the way. But unfortunately, that won't be a thing for us over here in the TCG. However, all the other remaining decks, which is the top 4 best decks, I'm pretty sure it will develop once we do have those cards available for us. That's enough of the TCG. We're talking about the OCG here. So, Blue Eyes White Dragon. So right now, at this point, Blue Eyes players on the OCG identified that their main concern was Orcus, because Orcus making those unbreakable boards that they usually do makes it impossible for Blue Eyes to play over them. So they swapped the idea of playing the Dominus Purge hand trap that allows that does not allow your opponent to search overall. It's a very good card where Blue Eyes can play it, because the entire deck is filled with lights, and even Other Barrel does not affect it whatsoever because it's an earth. But when you start putting Bestials, that's when you have to acknowledge that it's either the Bestials or playing Dominus Purge here. So in this topping list, we are able to see that they decided to go for the Bestials, which is not bad. Overall, drawing the Backdemut and able to search either your other Bestial monsters or even search the Ether Barrel, which is, by the way, it's a dragon as well. It's pretty good. It's for consistency and also disruption. And overall, as well, for the side deck, they went into heavy more into anti-banish cards. So Chaos Hunter, Artifact Lancia, for when they know they're gonna go second. Efolas, more draw power, Thanos, or Phantasmal Dragon Phantasme. And as well, their typical floodgates being skill drain, and they still have on the game summon limit for some reason. That's very strange. But either way, they have the ability for it, just like they limited Artifact Lancia on that past OCG ban list, but I digress. But yeah, like, pretty much Blue Eyes players at this point, they acknowledge that if they get banished their cards, or they have to deal with a shifter, or overall they have to deal with Maliss or Orcus, they have it pretty much sealed with this side deck, which is pretty good. It covers both Orcus, Maliss, and at the same time, Full covers all their decks, and as well that all their hand traps there are playing in the deck as well here. It's pretty good to cover those matchups as well. Maliss, there's nothing different from Maliss overall at this point. Maliss kept staying as your typical shifter deck with the Bestials and having access to, you know, those powerful link monsters. Also having still access to Appaloosa, which makes Maliss way better in the OCG as well, because it allows you to beat Nibiru in certain cases before you get Cyber's locked by the Splash Mage here. Pretty standard side deck as well. The additions of Solemn Strike. Solemn Strike is a very underrated card. Like, that card is broken right now. And Orcus, there's a variation of playing the Fiendsmith cards with the pure list, but overall I think the Fiendsmith engine what makes Orcus better, because even if they have Engraver that won in the OCG, it's completely playable. Like, they still have the Lacrima fusion legal in the OCG. And also this player here went with the Asamina Fiendsmith Orcus variant, which is pretty awesome. The fact that they're able to get the Asamina fusion monsters for an extra interruption, and also by giving you draw power, it's something to consider. Of course, they still have access to original Sinful's Foil Snake Eye, but that's more into the fire decks with something that is not viable at this point. So I really like the engine. Overall, I don't think that drawing into multiple of it is a brick, because you still get an Omnigate and you can still play around your Orcus cards. Or even if you're hard bricked, you can still do a Mona the Close Heaven into Fiendsmith combo. So what can I say there? So yeah, pretty standard there. At this point, Phantasme, Chaos Hunter, and Lancia was like the mandatory with, as well with the artifact sites as well. Since Lancia is now popular, you can actually play Artifact Phantom to have not only have access to Scythe, also as well to Lancia. So that's pretty good. And now, before we can proceed for the last half portion of the video, a quick mention of our sponsors.
Now a shout out to our sponsors, the first one being Grad, the best grading company in Europe, based in PIANETA in Milan. The second one is CARDTRADER, the online marketplace platform where you'll find the cards you need at market price in one shipment only. Create your account using the link right here. The third one, Game to Collect, is one of the top Italian sellers on the market, specializing in high-rarity American cards, gold format, and misprints. They also collect your cards up to 85% of their value. Next one is Magician Circle, a local store in Trieste specialized in sealed and custom products. They also host events for all TCGs. Then shout out to GameLover, your favorite place based in Crema, where you can eat, play card games, table games, and also video games. Next we got ALIANDY, your go-to place in San Giovanni Lupatoto, where you can find mangas, comics, board games, singles, and tournaments for all TCGs. Then a shout out to Planet Fun, the best place to go in Rovato for weekly tournaments for all TCGs. Last local store we have is Gamerland, based in ABBIATEGRASso, Lombardy's best shop to buy singles, sealed, and play weekly tournaments. Then we have CHAPA'S Playmats. They produce amazing custom playmat that may have your own image on them. Last but not least, we have Dragon Ink. They produce our official PA jerseys and cloth mats. All their links are in the description down below, so don't forget to check them out.
Alright, so now we're gonna go into the metagame report number 3, which things get interesting here because it's pretty much the same format, with Orcus and Blue Eyes over and over the best deck. But here comes pretty much an approach here from Ryzeal and Maliss, trying to beat over those decks, but overall without the Alliance insight, it's pretty much difficult, because without those support cards that were confirmed for those decks, Blue Eyes and Orcus were still dominating. We see a little bit of a dominance in Memento. Memento is a really strong deck. In fact, it's one of the best decks here in the TCG, as like a viable option, because many people don't know how to play against Memento yet, even though that deck is pretty much over 2 years old by now. But the fact that Memento is pretty good in this format, where all the Motarmies are legal and Maxi is legal, even though the Motarmies really does not affect as well Memento, but Maxi does. So I'm very impressed that Memento is really doing a really good performance, even if they are the 5th best deck in the OCG. So Orcus, nothing has changed. It's the same deck. Like, Orcus is Orcus. It's your typical graveyard strategy. In this version, they're pretty much just playing regular Orcus and with a singular copy of Phantasme, OCG ratios, I guess. And yeah, nothing interesting besides that. That's just Orcus at this point. Same here with Blue Eyes White Dragon. This player actually decided to went over the idea that Crimson Dragon is not necessary, and it's a very base comment because Crimson Dragon, having access to Crimson Dragon to summon by this by the synchros for Blue Eyes, it's pretty strong, giving you more coverage for your negations too. However, they felt that not having access for the Crimson Dragon was not necessary, which is something to consider, honestly. This player here showing that if you're not playing the Bestials, you can actually just play the Dominus Purge trap card, which is pretty strong. It's pretty much another copy of Ash. The only confliction with Purge is that you no longer have access to Ash Blossom anymore, even if you draw it later on. But I still, it's worth it if you draw both of them and you just activate Ash first, and then you go ahead with Dominus Purge. Also, the idea of playing the Vinea. This level 1 Vinea light monster is not legal yet for us, I believe, as of the moment of recording this video. So I think they play it because it's a tuner. It's a level 1 tuner light, which you can use for summon it with your Loady Load to have access to another forms of synchro summoning besides Sage and Maiden. So that's pretty good to have access to it. And as here for Maliss, this is the most surprising Maliss list here because it went into a Bestial approach. And also this is where the OCG started using this link for, I'm forgetting her name right now, I'll put it on screen right now. But this link 4 is strong. The fact that you can just summon this, and then if you're playing as well for the Nightmare Griffin, if your Nightmare Griffin just outs it and you just revive it back with the link 4, like that's insane. The fact you can just revive back the Griffin and have Steal the Luck, it's pretty strong on Maliss. Like seriously, having the inclusion to this link 4, it's pretty strong. And here's where the OCG decided to include Ryzeal, because Ryzeal is trying to give a comeback, even though the post ban list, they lost the Biz Dweller, they lost 2 copies of X Ryzeal and 2 copies of 7th Tachyon. But this is where they identified that Ryzeal still under those hits. It's a pretty strong deck because having access to the twin Xyz monster is broken. Like this card is pretty much was designed for Ryzeal. Like this card is absolutely bonkers. Having the accessibility to just pop your own detonator when it's about to get outed, to just revive it back, to have another copy of detonator, and even if your detonator does not get outed, you can just revive it back with the last pop to get more pops. Like custom card, like absolute custom card. So now here comes the big thing for the next last meta game analysis for OCG for the month, is the inclusion of Alliance Inside, where Maliss got support and Ryzeal got support, and shocker, they are now the best decks again. Like Konami noticed that even after the hits, they were just gonna make support for this decks, and yeah, they're now bonkers now. The fact that you can now play Maliss with Grass Maliss and Horos Bestial Maliss, it's wild. Ryzeal coming back because the new Ryzeal monster it's an extra copy of a combo. It's pretty strong. And as well that now that Maliss has overcome on the metagame, having access to more consistency, not losing to Lancia anymore, just pushes back this powerful graveyard strategies like Blue Eyes and Orcas back to where they belong, as Maliss would say as well. So it's pretty wild. Like the fact that having access now to the new Maliss monster, which is March Hare, and as well for Maliss in the Mirror, which is the new quick play spell, this makes this deck better. And also having access now to the new Cyber support for the Adagnisser support and the new Cold Talker monster. Like, I don't know what Konami was thinking when they made this link. Like, this card just makes Maliss have access to a Nominate. And also, you're able to soul charge your Maliss Lynx 3s back from the graveyard, and you can use them for free to negate a card by tributing it with the new Cold Talker. Like, holy crap. Like, it's absolutely insane. Like, I'm pretty sure if people in the OCG do not have a strategy to stop Maliss, by this point, Maliss would be tier 0 because not even Ryzeal, like even with the support that Ryzeal got, with Star Ryzeal, and also having access to the new trap card, which I don't think they're playing, if I'm not wrong, because it was pretty much lackluster. But just having access to the new Star Ryzeal gives you access to Ryzeal Cross, and as well that now the Ryzeal players are just still playing at 7th Takian to have access to Artifact Lancia by using the Light Fairy rank 4, or I think it's a rank 6. I'm not completely sure, but either way, like, absolutely Ryzeal needed this card, because if Ryzeal did not get a good support card, I'm pretty sure Maliss here would have been like 40% even. Like, it's absolutely crazy. And you know what's the worst part about this? They thought there was no need to include more top lanes for Orcust and for Blue Eyes because Maliss and Ryzeal are back on the format in the OCG. Just shows that providing the best decks more support makes the decks better. Like, it's insane. But I think Maliss is the overall winner from this. In fact, as well, another detail to provide, Maliss is no longer playing the Allure of Darkness because it's not completely necessary. Like, the Cyber's cards are way better, provide more coverage, more extension. You don't need the Allure anymore. So that's pretty insane. So yeah, guys, that's everything that I wanted to disclose today on this battle analysis for the OCG. We're gonna try our best to provide this every month because I do think that it's the best source of information to be aware exactly what happened on the OCG for the entire month. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe to Purple Haze Team YouTube channel, be my Duron for Purple Haze Team, and I'll see you all later.